is that's the kind of stuff I cover in that format, because there are simple things like that you can look for that help you decide, which order to go through the answers.
Right.
But whenever you're ready, if you want to share your screen again, and we'll look at another question.
Okay. Okay. Right. So I picked D.
Okay, so the correct answer is letter A.
Okay.
I'll share my screen here again. It's okay. There's no judgment here. We're just trying to work through some problems today. This one's a little awkward. Did you evaluate the right-hand side? And if you did, I guess the question is, could you tell me what the value of the square root of 64 is on the right-hand side? And again, if you're allowed to calculate, I would grab one and do that.
Okay, so no.
Okay, so the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, and that kind of leads you towards A, but not completely. You have to understand that the square root is undone by the square. So the square of the square root, these both undo each other, meaning like you just get what's underneath.
Oh.
So for example, if you have, in this case, the square root of 8 squared is 8. If you have 8 squared square rooted, that is also 8. And so the answer here would be A. So I think my opinion is that you interpreted the square root of 64 somehow as half, and we're turned in, that number. But I would grab a calculator, try that, and then that kind of leads you towards at least maybe one less answer. If you can reduce down to 2, that's better. But yeah, so the answer is A. And here's something else I can do. I can always give you a problem like the ones that are here. So if you're like, hey, Matthew, can I get one just like this so we can try it right now? Absolutely. I can make one up on the fly.
Okay, so if it doesn't have the square root, then it would be 8 still.
Well, if it was 64, if the right-hand side was just 64 and it's what number squared gets you to 64, it is 8.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll share screen. Yep. It's gonna be 8. -4 and 3. See, I don't understand the line thing.
Yeah, so your answer is partially correct, but it would be marked wrong in this
It would
multiple
be
choice.
the C.
Yeah, no, it's a little more. Yeah, it is C. It's because it's asking for a distance. You see, it says represents the distance. We associate distance with only positive numbers. We never express like north as being positive and south being negative. We just say it's the distance there. So your answer has to be positive, and that means A is out and B is out because neither of those are positive. And so it either is C or D, and just by counting, the distance is 7. So you have to decide between C and D, which one is 7. It is letter C. And I can go through that if needed, but there's the distinction there is between distance and like difference, I guess.
Okay, so these lines is like.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Sure.
Sometimes I think that talking through it can be done, but you really got to see it. So yeah, so the word distance, we just talked about, that's kind of the key word here. So these vertical bars mean absolute value. And they are the ones that refer to the distance. That's why I said A and B are out. They're also out because you can't, they're both negative when you combine them. So that was another reason. But typically what you do is you do right minus left when you're doing these calculations, but they get away with it here because of the absolute value. So the absolute value returns positive. Okay, and so the idea is like when you do -4 minus 3,
You're gonna get
You-
-1.
-7.
-7,
We can
okay.
talk about that, but it always returns positive. So it doesn't matter what's in here, you're always going to get a positive number as a result.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you need some clarity on signs, and it's a common issue, we can talk about that if you would like. But the distance, absolute value gets you down to those two, and then you just got to evaluate it, because this one gives you this absolute value -4 + 3. You first combine the numbers inside to get -1, but you can clearly see the distance between them is 7. It's not 1. So you may find it's easier to eliminate answers rather than always finding the one that you think is right.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Why is it not allowing me to go forward? Okay.
New question here. All right.
Data represents the number of cars. That's okay. Which line? What? See, I don't understand that.
Okay, let me share my screen here, and we'll look at this together. Just wait for that to load. There it is. Okay, so one of the first things I would tell you to do is to put the data in order, is one strategy that you might use here. What they're showing you in these graphs is, like, for example, I'll just look at this 3 on the end. So this X here represents the 3, this X represents the 3, and so on. So they're just asking.
Gotcha. So 2 3s,
Right.
got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
But there's a couple of things that you can do to actually eliminate answers here again without actually doing the graph. Like, you don't want to take the time to do that. Like, for example, here, this letter C has one at 9 and 10, and I'm seeing pretty quickly there's not one at 9 and 10. So I know that
Right.
I know C is out. Okay, where it gets harder is like, well, what about these other ones? Now D, it's got 5. I know there's more than 5 in the answers. Okay, so that's out. And then I can kind of use the same approach with B, more so that this is considered uniform, meaning it's got one of each, and you're supposed to count like vertically if you have more than one. So for example, there's 3, 3, and 3, and that's 3, 3, and 3, and that's another reason B is out and why A would be the best choice there. But what this
Got it.
represents is like a tick or a dot at each value that they have.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the way they present it is like, okay, what are these numbers up at the top? You know, it doesn't say, okay,
Yeah.
but now I get it. Okay. Get it. See, I'm not good with these.
Do you get a formula sheet there?
No.
I'm sorry, the button there, the one that says formula sheet. Do you know? Can you
Oh.
check on that, just so we could check what they're actually giving you? Okay, so this one is the surface area of a sphere. Okay, so the nice thing is you don't have to know this. You just have to know where to find it. And let me see if I can. If you want to go down with your cursor, you're a little too far, where it's the sphere on the left.
Right here.
Yes, and then see how there's an SA equals, that SA stands for surface area.
Okay.
On the right, it's the volume formula. So I'm just pointing that out so you know where to go. Now I'll share my screen here to help you work through this one.
Okay.
Let me do that here, but you're going to have to obviously know where to go to find the formulas. So let's let that load up. There it is. So this one wants the surface area of the disco ball. Surface area is 4 pi r squared. Are they giving you the radius in this problem?
Yes.
They're giving you the diameter.
Oh, the diameter. Okay.
Diameter, yeah. And the diameter is going all the way across. Okay, that's
Mhm.
what they're giving you in this problem. You don't want that. You want the
Around. Yeah.
radius. No, the radius. Distance from the center out to the edge. This is the diameter all the way across. So the radius is 1/2 the diameter. The radius goes from the center out. Think of the diameter as going from the center out in both directions.
Got it.
So it's double.
Okay.
It's double that. But notice your formula requires you to have the radius, not the diameter. Okay. So the answer here is 4 times pi times 8 squared, because the radius is 1/2 of 16.
Okay.
Which is 8. So this one requires you to do one additional step. So 4 pi times 8 squared. And because they're saying to the nearest square inch, they're suggesting you're going to have to use a calculator. Do you have one handy today? And the phone's not really a good calculator.
Oh,
The
all I
desktop
have is
one.
the phone one.
Okay, so you're going to run into issues with that because it's not. Does the screen, does they give you a calculator in the test, like on
They do.
on screen?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you share your screen again, and I'll see if I can talk you through how to use that one so you know how to use it in this case.
It is. Oh no, they just give you the reference.
So the TI-30XS calculator is what they're recommending. It's a fairly inexpensive calculator, but it will help you quite a bit to be able to answer a question like this one.
Okay.
Because essentially you want to enter it in the order that I just went through. So anyway, nevertheless, so here, since you don't have one, I'll do the calculation, but I would certainly recommend getting one. You get them on Amazon, get them used in store, but it's 804 is the answer for that.
Okay, so when you put it into the calculator, how would you put it into the calculator?
So I can show you on a virtual TI-83, which is kind of similar. So let me get that up here and be able to show you that. So give me just a moment here.
Because they do give you a calculator there.
Oh, good.
At the test.
Oh, good.
Well, then no, there is one calculator here. It is.
Okay, that's what we wanted. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that. I can talk you through that.
Okay.
So hit the 4.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's a pi button that's to the left of sign. It's fourth down from the top left.
Okay.
Okay, and then put an open parentheses. That's the left one there. And then 8 close parentheses.
Oops.
So
just 8.
Yeah, go use the D-pad there and go back 1.
How do you go back?
So that up, down, left, right.
Nope. Oh, got it. Okay.
And then close parenthesis.
Position.
It's going to override it. And then to the power of 2, see where the x squared is there next to the 7.
Yep.
Hit that, and then hit enter. And you'll see 804 point. Okay, so this is a problem. So this is giving you an exact answer. Let's do. So let's do it differently. Just go ahead and clear that out. Hit the clear buttons above the division sign. So let's do 4 times 3.14.
3.14.
So instead of pi, we're using 3.14 times this time 8, and then that x squared button. Yeah, and hit enter. This will give you the so what this is the approximation. The other one was giving you the exact answer.
Huh. Okay.
But you can see clearly the 804 is the only reasonable answer because the closest one to it.
Okay. So how would I know if they want me to do which way to do it?
Well, the answer is, it said to
the approximate.
It said the nearest square inch, so you know you're rounding in that case. If it
Okay.
says closest to or best approximates, it's all in the language.
Okay. That is my biggest problem, is like slowing down and reading
Yes.
the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
So,
She is on a call right now. She cannot.
How did you come up with that number?
so I multiplied the 6 times 162 and then added the 25 shipping fee.
Okay. And did that get you? Let's use the calculator and do it slightly differently, or let's do it with that one on that they give you, or yeah, just to practice here.
Okay.
So it would be 6, and then like you just said, times
Mhm.
162,
Mhm.
and then you can add plus the 25. So the calculator knows order of operations, and it will do this in the right order. Now, you know that there's not enough to buy another cap in this
Right.
case. Okay,
Mhm.
good. That's great. That direct way of solving is perfect.
Okay. So that one was good.
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
That's okay. It's not a distraction for me.
Hmm.
This is probably the toughest question we've seen, because it's kind of indirect in how they're asking you to approach it.
Right. This one I'm gonna have an issue with.
Okay, so let me share my screen here and we'll take a look together. Okay, so the what we're trying to figure out is the difference between the amount they charge for 10 hours of work. And sometimes you want to solve a simpler problem, like what would the difference be between 1 hour of work?
Right.
And for Jim, we can pretty clearly see that for 1 hour, he charges $20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Susan's a little bit harder, because it tells you for 2 hours, it's 48. So if you divide by 2, you might say, well, it's probably 24. You'd want to check that. You'd want to say, well, it's 3 times 24, 72. Yeah, it is. Is 7 times 24, 168. Yeah, that's actually the number of hours in a week. So we're good there. So the difference is $4 for 1 hour, but we don't want that. We want it for 10 hours, which means you have to multiply this 4 by 10
Right.
to
Okay.
get your answer.
Okay. I like that. That's easy.
I like hearing that. All right, we can probably do one more question here. I usually stop around the 25 mark for these half-hour lessons, just give you a little bit of more information on scheduling and pricing. But if you got one more question you want to do, we can absolutely do that today.
Okay. So we'll do the 40. Oops. And then I'll go through the rest and then make a note. Oh. That would be my answer.
So it's close. The answer is actually B, letter B. So when it says sum of, that refers to parentheses. That's a math syntax thing. I'm not sure how you would know that unless you see that a few times and then work it out, work out a few more like that. But yeah, there's only really two that it could be, B or C. So, I mean, if you're guessing, it's, better guess at 50% than that. But it's sometimes use the word like quantity. Quantity also means parentheses. I'll write that down here in the notes as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and just do one thing real quick. Sorry here. Let's more options. Okay, so here we go. All right, so again, I'm going to send you the notes here